Hey there, baseball fans. Nathan Rohde and Shooter Hunt here with the latest episode of Coffee and Curveballs. Shooter, last week we updated the 2024 rankings, talked about that on this show. Now we're moving on to the 2021s.
Yeah, those guys are years away, though. This coming summer. We're looking at a July draft, some big names, some risers. After a good couple months of baseball, we actually got a fair amount of tournament play in.
Yeah, it did. It was as close to normal of a fall as we could expect, given the current situation. But lots of guys impressed, not only this fall, but also previously over the summer. So we're going to highlight 5 guys that are rising up those 2021 rankings as they are on the site right now. Let's start off with Lonnie White Jr., Shooter. We know this guy extremely well. He was at the Future Games after his freshman year, automatically stood out as an incredible athlete. You know, it was like, man, this guy can play football too. Had committed to Clemson, has since switched to Penn State, but is committed to the Nittany Lions for football as well. Hit a little bit of a rough patch in that development period for him in his, sophomore, junior years. But when I saw him this summer and fall, he was one of the best guys I saw, one of the most improved guys I saw. He is an absolute dude.
Yeah, and we use the word athleticism for a lot of guys. This kid is a premier athlete. You're talking about, they called State Lions there in State College. He's headed to the Nittany Lions to play wide receiver. But the speed was always there. We saw him at the underclass area codes where he kind of taken a step back with the bat where, hey, what's going on here? Is he going to be more of a football player? This dude could probably also hoop in college if he wanted to as well. But it came together this summer, and he looked great, carried it over into the fall. That upside is immense. I think the scouts are going to love that. It's loud off the bat, and he gets the top speed quickly. Premier center fielder, can really steal a bag. Nothing not to like.
Yeah, definitely one of those rare power speed combinations that we see out of a lot of superstars this day. So definitely a lot of upside there for Lonnie. But out of the state of Texas, committed to Texas, we got Joshua Stewart, a right-hander, who was a guy that we've highlighted before because at Wilson Premier, I saw him just blow the doors off some guys. Went up against a very tough Canes National lineup, and he had a very strong outing. Started out 92-95, settled into that 90-93 range. Pretty loose, easy delivery, a little bit of crossfire there to add some deception. Slider was inconsistent, but flashes late bite. Shockingly, Shooter, we've got a big power arm coming out of Texas.
Yeah, usually it takes until the spring where we see these pop-up guys from Texas, and quote-unquote pop-up guys. He's committed to UT,
yeah.
So they obviously know about him. But I think that velo will continue to climb. There's a bunch of fireballers. There's a good group of 5 or 6 right-handers right now in Texas, so we'll be looking for guys to really separate themselves.
Yep. Speaking of right-handers, this guy kind of makes me smile a little bit because Tanner Mcdougall, I saw him at area code games, and I said the ball really comes out well. I like the way it is out of his hand. It's lively. It's in the low 90s. And then you go to the Nevada Pro Case and you're like, hey, what do you got on this Tanner Mcdougall kid? I'm like, dude, I've been talking about him. So pretty lively arm. My question about him was the breaking ball, and your take from the Pro Case made it seem like that's coming along nicely for him.
Yeah, metrically, and especially with the TrackMan readings, you look at this stuff, there's a lot to build on. And he has that aptitude for spin. The fastball is a high RPM pitch, but also the breaking ball. I think the shape and kind of the tilt on it may have some fixes, but you have a lot to work with. And the frame's athletic. I think he can still put on weight. He's got that workhorse type frame in the making. And the thing that was the best about him was he was not scared. He was going up against some real dudes in state. Oh, this guy's the top kid in state. I want to face him right now. I don't care if I need to add an extra batter. So those guys who are competitive like that, it's easy to bet on them. He's an Oregon recruit, so he's got 2 nice options. Drafted or go head to Eugene. I mean, he can't go wrong.
Indeed. So next up, we got another outfielder that really intrigued me this summer and fall. Elijah Lambros was uncommitted early in the summer, has since committed to South Carolina, but he was one of those guys, as I look at him on the field, he's got twitch, he's an athlete, the tools are loud, there's bat speed, he can run. And I'm looking around, I'm like, how is this guy not committed right now? And sure enough, the Gamecocks jumped on him.
Yeah, he's one of those quiet helium guys that I think will be getting some buzz in the Mid-Atlantic. I was getting great reports all summer about Elijah Lambros where, hey, have you heard about this Lambros kid? He gets a hit. Every time I see him, he smacks something. It's loud contact. And of all the kids who are still maturing, he's got that pro-ready frame that's only going to get better. So kudos to him. I think he's going to have that chance, obviously, to continue that helium throughout the spring as long as they have a real nice, solid season.
Yeah, indeed. He jumps into the top 100. Look for him to make an even bigger jump in the spring and work his way up that list. But one more guy to throw at y'all. We got Jose Pena, a right-hander out of Florida. Was a big standout at the senior state games for Doug Freeman and his guys down there. And we talked about metrics a minute ago with Tanner Mcdougall. This guy has those too. High spin rate fastball up to around 2,500. It's also ranging 89 to 94. And then that curveball's also got RPMs up to 2,600.
And this dude competes. And I think that's something the scouts in Florida are going to love. He's really competitive, gets out there. He wants to win that baseball game, which helps his tools stand up even louder. We talk about Texas. Oh, we find all these guys. Florida, it's almost like we take it for granted that there's going to be dudes popping up nonstop. And yeah, this guy's a top prospect. So the Jose Penas of the world almost become, we just take him for granted that he's going to be a dude. And he's become that. I love the competitiveness. I think it's going to shine throughout the spring. And he's going to be a guy who sees his stock rise even more.
Indeed, indeed. So there you have it, a look at 5 guys moving up the 2021 overall rankings. If you haven't already, what are you doing? Get to prepbaseballreport.com and check out the rankings as we head into the off-season gains type of season here before we head into the spring. So as always, for Shooter Hunt, I'm Nathan Rohde. This was Coffee and Curveballs, and until next time, we'll see you guys at the ballpark.